Welcome to Movement is My Constant. Today I am joined again by two guests. If you haven't watched or listened to the previous episode, I was joined by Wijs and Nadia, two movement specialists and colleagues at Wijs. Wijs means to be wise, and it is the name and brand of a local gym offering classes, personal training, physical therapy, and nutrition with the goal to improve and educate on movement quality and awareness, and in turn, make their clients feel better. And to continue that conversation around movement quality and what it means, I invited two other colleagues who bring yet another perspective. They are also both personal trainers and combine their different expertises in the practice. So here with me is Anna. Besides being a physiotherapist, she's studying to become an osteopath and is calling with us from Italy, where she's going through her internship. And I am also joined by Derk. He is a personal trainer focusing on body awareness, maybe also body-mind awareness, with the interest on mindfulness and meditation for sports. So welcome, Anna, and welcome, Derk, to Movement is My Constant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So like the previous time, like the last time I recorded with Wijs and Nadia, the reason I invited you both is because you're bringing this really great diversity of your movement specialisms and practices and as personal trainers. And this can influence the quality of the practices given at the gym. And with that, I could even say it's an unordinary gym where you train in a more wholesome manner. And also, like last time, I always start by asking about childhood influences and experiences. Things that you did when you were a kid that you really enjoyed and that you can relate to what you do today. Mm-hmm. So, Anna, I would start with you. As a child, how was movement present and important in your life? How does that, how it shaped your life?
Well, as a child, my mother was saying that I was a monkey. So I started well my early childhood. And I've always been in a sport environment because with my family, we were going to the mountain and skiing, mountain biking, running together. So that was a really good influence, I think, on my motor skills and on my way already to thinking about how to be active and feel good with sport. Then I joined a handball team, and then which became my sport. And I played since I was 12, 13, till before coming to Amsterdam. That sport really changed my my perspective about sport, in the sense of I really felt owning some movements, owning my body because I was in control, and I really had a nice period in which I combined it with feeling that I could reach something higher than I thought that of myself, and I reached the national team. And at that point, I was at the best of my years, I think. And so that's what brought me to like also physiotherapy and all the movement movement practice. So that's why I also I came to Amsterdam to really focus on what movement is and how I could help other people feeling better and let them understand about how our body works, because that's what I kind of started to do it when I was a kid and with handball, and then now I'm doing it to everyone, I guess. With everyone.
How is being an osteopath? How is then the continuation of that path?
when I finished to study physiotherapy, I felt during one of my internships, I felt this different approach that was going deeper than physiotherapy, which is looking at the body as an integrated system, with not only looking at muscle and bones, joints, but in the whole, seeing how one thing can affect the other, also in a visual level, or broader perspective. Even we think about, it's not strictly related with the osteopathy, but psychology also plays a role a lot in our being. So I think with osteopathy, I'm really discovering day by day, weekend of study by weekend of study, that we are so complex, and we will never stop finding something and realizing that a movement that I asked to do or something that I touch is not only my touch, but I influence so many things at the same time. And this is what I missed on the concept of physiotherapy. This is so I feel that I'm in the right path. So yeah.
Sounds like it. Yeah, really nice. Dirk, how about you? What has influenced your childhood and also the choices you made for your practice today?
I think, well, Anna just said that when she was a child, her mother saw her as a monkey. I think I was the complete opposite. I was quite a big child, and also when I was 10 or 11, I really started to grow really quick, which made me really long and really clumsy. So the skills of a monkey I absolutely didn't have. But what it did give me was, I think, a lot of insecurity about moving. And then somebody who really influenced me to move was my father. My father was a mountaineer. He was always in the mountains during summer, but training during the time he was not in the mountains. And he really pushed me to sport, to move, to try, and to learn as well, to learn to work with the body that you're given, and to find a way to make it work, to make it work in a way that suits you. So not for everybody, but for, in my case, a long, tall body. And then I really noticed, the older I get, I got, that you really can find a base of security, of confidence in understanding simple movements and in understanding what your body can do. Because I really came from feeling like absolutely no control and insecure, slowly build up to more in control and to creating, I don't know, call it an honest base, and from there to go further. I would say, something like that.
And how did you get that place? Was it through any sports or any, or just the walking with the influence of walking, or?
Yeah, it was. Well, I played my youth. I played football. I played tennis. Those are really common sports here in Holland. But I played those, and in summers I was in the mountains with my father. He always had to work, so that means that he was guiding people to the top of the mountain and then back. And then next day again up and back. And as a child, I was like, oh, I really don't like this. Sometimes it could be so boring and so tiring and again. But you have to do it. It was work at the time. But then when I got older, the mountains became higher, it became more difficult, became also more adventurous and dangerous. And I started to understand more what was happening and also to enjoy it more. Yeah, so sorry, I sometimes float a bit away.
No, that's perfect. I love it how both of your experiences really bring this influence, right? Of like mother or father or someone in the family or someone close that really allowed you to experience nature or to have a sports that you could really connect into. And you're both coming from such different places in your life, I guess. But yeah, so this is really about your experiences in the childhood really mark a lot of your decisions, and it's nice to see how you were both aware, right? You had in different ways you were both aware of what movement was doing for you or not doing. The key to all life experience is movement. This is a quote by Ida Rolf that I also included in the conversation with Wijs and Nadia, and I believe it really fits the motto of move better, feel better, which is the brand behind the gym. With this in mind, I'd like to ask you both in an open conversation, what does it really mean to move better?
It's so broad.
Exactly.
Well, since I'm studying osteopathy, I would like to start what for me movement is, and then say what movement better is. What I've learned is that movement is basically life, because if we look into a microscopic level, we are cells, and cells interact with each other by creating tissues, and by creating tissues, from tissues you create organs and organ systems, and system makes up our body. And it's not about only the cells, but it's also what we think the cells is. So in the extracellular layer, fluid. So what for me is if you think about that, when we move, is actually all these little microscopic movements within our body. It really reestablish the connection and harmony between them. And for me, when I ask to do a movement, or when I perform my SEMO movement, I'm now more aware of leaving out the cells that move, but how everything moves, everything is together. So the connection that we have. So to come back to your question, what is to move better, is to be aware of that you have a body, and this body moves to interact with people. So what we have is ourself, and then we have our body, and our body, we use it as a tool to interact. So more we are aware of how our body works and how we can make it more fluid, more better the movements, more also we will interact with others, and more with this knowledge of with what happens is also when we start to move, also emotions change. So that's why they always say, like that movement feels, you feel better, because it's not only about doing some squats. It's what the squats brings you after, So I think, moving better is being finding back that connection, and really work on to make your body perform better in life as a tool,
Right.
and as a tool to for your psychological side, but also, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
living word.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think you both tapped into the body-mind connection, and also now that you were saying about what it is to do a squat, and sometimes we have these ideas. I go to the gym, I just go into this mind perspective over how to do a practice or a workout or whatnot. So how can we move away from that and indeed move better? It's the quality of those movements, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so there are certain steps if you come to us to check, because like how our the stage of development of a baby, he cannot walk without crawling, and he cannot crawling without being seated, because muscles work together to perform the movements. But sometimes you need to make it better, the movement. You need to start from the basic. So it's like getting a kid, a child, and see that it's not able to sit correctly, and of course it's not going to perform as good the crawling. So what is nice is showing this fundamental basic of movement, and then building up. So squat, for example, could be, but in the broader perspective of saying, I do this because I want to concentrate in this pattern in order to then transfer in a flow of movements. What do you like? What people,
Nice. And how does movement awareness look like in the, like we're tapping now into the practices, and I'm curious from both of your angles again, how does it look like this movement awareness in your own practices? Maybe for one is more exploring, for other one is more structural. Maybe Derk, would you like to add something here? How does the mindfulness and that awareness, how does that apply to your own practice, your training, your PT?
Yeah, what I think when it comes to movement, and especially when it comes to training, is that a lot of people come into the gym with an idea in their head for a certain goal. Mostly that's an aesthetic goal, so they want to look a certain way, or either they really want to lift a certain amount of weight. Of course, those mostly are the goals that they're coming for, and then let's say you pay a certain amount, and then you think, okay, then I get this result, or I get this product, and then when you start training, notice really quickly that like a real simple movement, like a squat, like a lunge, it can be really difficult to do it like properly and to do it with your attention. And because people are so much in a hurry, they want so quickly results, they want more and more and more. They don't want to take the time to learn the basic stuff. They don't want week in, week out, do the same movement because I did it yesterday, it's boring. I want something new. I want to be entertained and I want to go up quickly. Well, I think that there is so much in the simple movement and in the simple idea of repeating again and again and again, because maybe it feels like repeating, but every step you do, it's a new movement. It's again a chance to make it perfect. But because people think so different, it's really hard to get maybe some awareness in there and be like, okay, let's try it this way,
Yeah, because they
Let's
come
see if
with
we
that.
can change.
Yeah, yeah. Because of that perspective of I just want to fix this, or I just want to, improve this very
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, it's in 2 months I want a six-pack. It's not in 2 months I want to learn a lunge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna, do you have anything you'd like to add to what Dirk was saying, or?
I think what Derek said is very true. And
Thank you.
yeah, no, I do really. I think awareness to people that come to the, just doing an example, to people come to the clinic, and you see sometimes, not always, but that they are in their mind, and they're maybe thinking about, other things, and rather to be there. But the movement awareness for me is you are there to do something for your body, to do something for yourself. So it's a moment of being one, putting all your attentions in something that for all the other 23 hours of your day, you don't really care about it, because you're going working, you're going to grocery. So our body is our home. So we need to give it the time with awareness to perform better, to move better. And yeah, what Derek says is we need to be patient, like in everything, patient, because it's myself too, like I when I start running, I want to achieve that goal, but I know now that to achieve that goal you need a little bit of structure. And I know, like, we are humans, so we want to achieve stuff. We're achievers, but sometimes it's good to take our little steps to get there. And yeah, because at the end it's how. And I think what we do is in the clinic at Wijs is making sure that they know the importance of it. Because if they do a squat and say, yeah, but I've already done it, I understand that you already done it, but then the explanation after that is the one that counts. And this is what our kind of job is to lead a bit of more awareness, to give a bit more awareness.
Yeah. Curious if the clients, if people who come to both of your practices, can you see change in this awareness? Do you ever see that? Can you change a mindset?
I do have just a recent example of this woman that has for her life had pain in the Achilles, in both Achilles, because she was dancing a lot, and she came to me not being aware of what actually her body was, how she was putting load in her body by just doing a lot of movements with their toes, in her toes. So showing her what actually was doing, and what the strength or the mobility that the muscles or were lacking, or were to work on. She really realized how important was the work aside of dancing, and she said, so that's what I need to get that flexibility. That's what I need to get even better at dancing. So I think we try our best. I try our best to say it in a very simple way, direct, in their direct experience, what could change and what it needs to be done to achieve what they want. And that's an example.
Yeah, and now I'm also curious, Dirk, maybe you can also jump in and say, what is the mix of your practices then, and how do you use maybe mindfulness and also in your own practice? to make this connection?
Yeah, well, to also go a bit back to the question you asked before, I feel like it's when you learn somebody a certain movement and you really take the time to do that, and somebody starts from a lower level and in the end, say, does the movement in a correct way or a nice way, then that's something like riding a bike. That's something you learn, and then that's then something that's yours. I mean, if they would come to us and say like, okay, I want this, and we could do it like a magic tooth, and they could do it, then in 2 weeks they lose the movement again and they come back. So then the responsibility for it lays not in yourself, but it's always with the therapist, or it's always with the trainer, or it's always somewhere else, because if I go there, they will fix it for me, and I don't have to take responsibility. But when I put in the effort, when I learn, then they understand that the responsibility for every movement you make lies with yourself. And if you learn, then it stays.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's like a journey.
No, it's true. It's very true. It's give responsibilities and taking responsibilities to own your body and to make that progresses.
I'm curious, what have you seen? You know, this was a year, an odd year of lots of stagnation in my view. So what did you see, you know, in people, in movement?
Well, there were, I think there were two kind of categories. The one that really realized I need to move, and they start to move better. And the other ones are maybe because not stimulated, but they're like, okay, I can just stay home and not doing anything.
I definitely recognize what Anna says. So a lot of people are really eager, but the other side of the coin, of people who really suffer under circumstances. So it's more mental. They feel no energy, tired, and mostly one of the main things I noticed is being alone. So loneliness. Then to move is not the solution, but it's a way of being busy with yourself and being, in the end, okay with being alone in this time, or at least dealing with the loneliness. It's a way of fighting those heavy emotions and feelings.
For each one of you right now, what are your favorite ways to move?
For me, it's running. I try to run 3-4 times a week. Not really that long. It's between 10 and 15, I would say. But it's just like for me, and I also noticed that the same thing happens when walking, but then I need to be like in nature or something, not in the city because it's too crowded. But like I know it's when I really get into a zone, like a trance somewhere else. It's really a way of clearing my mind.
I do exercise in the garden of my house now, just because I don't have any tools, and I got a elastic band and rings, and just trying to discover new things. But also for me, it's running as well, especially here in Italy, I would say, because as Derk also say, natural gives a big touch, and if you run in the nature, if you walk, hike in the mountain, just gives me that triggers to disappear from the world and to say I am there. So
and if you could share like you know, this top tip of movement that everyone should just do? You know, do you have any thoughts about it? Like, oh, you know, every morning I always, I don't know, stretch this many times, or, you know, it's great to also always stop, you know, your work from this period of times. Do you have any of those tips?
I think it's really important that when you do any kind of movement, that what you promise with yourself to do, let's say every day or every week or whatever, to make it small. So whether it's 10 times or 15 times or 2 minutes, but make it really small and make sure that feel like, oh yes, I can do this. I can do this. So if it's every day a minute, and it doesn't really matter, I feel like, what movement you're doing, as long as it's a movement, and you really focus on trying it, doing it seriously for the time that you planned, and then you will slowly progress, I know for sure, because you get this positive feedback all the time. But if
as you move in any plane possible, it's better than just sitting and standing. So yeah, if you really need to like, if you really want one specific, or like one part of the body to more look into, it's well, walk, like just going for walks or legs, but also the lumbar spine, where actually all starts, or where is the one that is more prone to not move, because we move our neck, you know, even at work we move our neck, but then when we sit there, it's like compressed, and we don't really turn. So if you're in front of the computer, standing up, move, turn, side bending, and all these things, you know. But the real concept is what Derk said.
I have two last questions. One of them, it's really about, I'm curious to know today, what keeps you both most excited to work with your client?
For me, is discovering movement patterns and how I can transfer my knowledge of how the body works anatomically speaking in a book to movements. So I think that this practice really keeps my triggers and exploring and stuff. Yeah, and of course there is a big, but you cannot know everything, but there is a big field, which is the body mind, and how the body mind's communication actually influence what the patient is feeling, but that's another big thing. But I discovered just that could be the next step.
Okay.
To get to know somebody, and when you work with somebody one-on-one, it's in certain ways really intimate, because like when you move or when you exercise, of course you're also going to do stuff that you can't do or don't want to do or don't like, and then you see certain emotions, certain reactions. So you get to see a side of people that they maybe don't want to show, or that they're not proud of or not happy with. And on the other hand, also to get to know somebody because you share stories with each other.
Why is movement your constant?
Movement is life, so you need to move, and that's it.
There you go.
You cannot stop, because if you stop, you see people in a hospital lying for a week and they are completely destroyed of muscle. So movement is what keeps us alive and what keeps us our emotions alive and our interaction with the world. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's really worth paying attention to that.
Yeah.
So not to see it as normal or that it just goes, but really be aware that you have to do it and that you have to take care of it.
Yeah. Lovely. Well, thank you both. This is really nice to see you and have the chance to catch up and really like pick your brains a little bit more about your passions and your work.
Thank you a lot, Anna, for inviting us, and yeah, it's nice to share these thoughts.
Yes, thank you.
It was also